What's up? It's your man, Marv Glover.
And the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
And welcome to the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports,
50% real shit, 100% of the time.
And if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Welcome to episode number 15. If you never heard a flawless intro before, you heard one today because that was seamless.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about the app. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling absolutely sensational. I was going to piggyback off you talking about the app. I was going to say, well, it's nothing like one of them Asians that go and they seam the clothing together
at the dry cleaner.
At the dry cleaner. Absolutely.
Nice
they are seaming stuff together.
That's a little bit of alliteration. Seamless. I hope we not fucking up the sound.
I hope you didn't say semen just now.
No,
seeming
together.
Seamlessly. I've been drinking.
Yes, you have.
I've been drinking.
Yes,
so if that is the case, well, this would take the conversation a little bit different.
You want to let the people know where you're coming from just now?
Oh, well, I was out there hooking them horns at Johnny Utah's. I had free drinks. As you can see, that wristband on my hand. You know, for some apparent reason, I've been blessed over the past 4 months.
Yeah.
All right, I've been drinking free about 8 consecutive times. I don't like to pitch on that sound that I had over there.
You can't sing. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Whoa, don't do that now.
No, I'm trying. You're a talented individual, but that's not in your back pocket.
Sing?
I'm telling you what I know.
Don't make me sing that.
No,
I
don't.
will sing.
That's what I'm telling you not to do. Don't.
And now,
no,
the end is near.
You know what's crazy?
And now I face the final curtain.
I know exactly where that voice would be necessary.
My friend,
go ahead.
I see it clear. I'll state my case. For which it's certain. I'm pretty sure I messed up the doggone lyrics. Whatever the case may be, I could sing the hell out of a Frank Sinatra song.
You should bring that voice to our old church choir. I think.
Oh, should I? Oh, I ain't going back. I left.
No, they would love to have you.
Listen.
Come on back. I'm saying, listen, I'm gonna cut the clip up. I'm gonna send it to the pastor. He will invite you himself.
Listen, we not coming back.
He'll CC the new pastor, all the deacons, praise and worship, the whole nine. Go ahead, say what you gotta say.
Listen. Shout out to Clemont, 209 Clemont Avenue. I'm not coming back.
No, he's coming back.
I will not grace your microphone with this beautiful voice. It's not going down, all right?
I can imagine you coming, hallelujah.
No.
Salvation
Yes, Lord, yes,
come
Lord,
through.
yes,
with the
yes,
praise dance,
Lord,
too. You got to come
yes,
through with
Lord,
the whole nine.
Yes, Lord, yes, Lord. No, we're not blessing.
It's not
blessing nobody.
It's not gonna
Absolutely
happen?
not. No, not at all. Not at all. I might just become an agnostic before I go back to church.
Gracious.
Whatever the case may be. All right, I am not gracing the church with the vocals. But how has your week been? Because first and foremost, before we even get into Marv Glover breaking it down, let's just first and foremost congratulate this man because he performed this past Monday on Caroline's on Broadway for the New York Comedy Festival. More importantly, not only did he perform, he was the best set of the night. The headliner stepped on and said, how can I follow that man with the mustache? This man was murdering, okay? Let me tell you something. He regularly performs. At the comic strip. He regularly performs at the West Side Comedy Club. He's regularly performed at the Brooklyn Comedy Zone. Well, not over there, but the House of Comedy, not the Brooklyn Comedy Zone, because that's where I perform regularly. But nonetheless, all right, Marv Glover out here grinding. I'm not sure if the last time that which I was here, all right? Well, then again, that was on Halloween. But the last time you done saw me, I was on stage with Carl Payne, all right? That's Martin. I was on stage with Joe Torre. That's Poetic Justice. But it ain't got nothing to do with what Marv Glover brought to the stage.
I don't do anything because I'm Basura. I appreciate you lauding me to be something I'm not, but I'm absolutely trash. I try and tell the audience every single time. I steal jokes from the chiseled Adonis. Everything that I am is because of this man. I'm garbage. I'm Basura. Clearly.
Listen, let me tell you something.
My material is poop compared to this man.
Pay a ticket. Pay a ticket. First and foremost, Marv Glover is booked. I am not. But if you go to this man's Instagram page, all right, if you happen to be in the tri-state area, in the New York area, do me a favor. Whatever you see listed on there, just pop out. You will hear one of the funniest jokes in rotation from the comedians around the country. Because let me tell you something, it will change the way that you play the game of Uno. That's the only thing I'm telling you right now. Right, that's all I got to say, because this brother right here, he's got a comedy special on the way. And I'm telling you right now, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart once said, all right, all right, all right. Matthew McConaughey once said, all right, all right, all right. But from this point forth, I'm telling you right now, listen, IG Live, we live right now on YouTube. You pay attention. Take down a pen, take it in your hand, take down some notes. Because when you're playing Uno, from this point forth, every time you end a conversation, you will be saying, Uno out. I can guarantee you it's one of the funniest jokes on the planet right now. You're going to want to tune in.
Or deny these claims.
Marv Glover is coming. And I ain't talking about ejaculation. Not
that either. But what we are talking about
is episode 15.
And we are here. We're live. We made it to 15, bro.
15.
This is a long time coming.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I remember when episode 1 started, they tried to finish us. They try to play us. They try to destroy us. And stop us from being great.
You're going to have to tell me who this they is.
I'm trying to tell. They told me that we wouldn't be here, man.
Who is they?
They the same ones that told me I'm not 6'2". We don't believe them.
Wait, but I believe him, though.
They the same ones that told me my beard ain't connected. Y'all see what's going on right now.
No, I don't know.
I'm sure. Wait, hold on now, brother. I know your shit is nice.
But you're not just going.
Wait. Before, let's talk about it. You see what's going on over here. I'm letting my thing grow out.
My man, you're not just going to walk past the fact that you said you were 6'2".
I said what I said.
You're not 6'2".
Well, you know,
this man sounds like the harlots on the caption. I may be 5'4", but my energy's 6'2".
Well,
I'm projecting
it. Listen, the word of the day is manifestation.
Manifestation.
I'm speaking it into existence.
Are you? So you're
one day I'm going to wake up and be 6'2". It's going to happen.
Well, one day,
right.
You know, T.I.'s daughter going to wake up and her dad not going to be there for her pap smear. But some things just not going to happen.
That's a sharp left turn. I was talking about height. You went straight to the height.
Hey, I had a sharp left turn, too. That's how I lost my car. I ran into a Jigglypuff, and all of a sudden, I couldn't wake up. All right? But we ain't talking about that right now. What we fixing to talk about is what's transpiring in this world. Because, you know, we talk that 50% sports, 50% real shit, 100% of the time. But let's first start talking out about sports. See, what transpired on Sunday Night Football? We saw an undefeated New England Patriot team, the Lolly Lule Low. They lost their first game of the season to those vaunted Baltimore Ravens, all right? Let me tell you something about Baltimore. They do not fear New England
at all.
It doesn't matter if it's Ray Lewis, who's playing middle linebacker, if it's Ed Reed playing at cornerback, if it's Jonathan Ogden on the offensive line, if it's Brian Billick at head coach or John Harbaugh. It doesn't matter who it is.
They don't give a damn.
Baltimore don't give a damn about no Patriots.
Right.
All right. If it's Veterans Day and you sit here, you got your hand over your heart. You're singing the national anthem. Baltimore don't care if you're a Patriot or not because they fixing to put their foot on your throat.
Indeed.
And that exactly what happened with a 37-20 dominant victory, emphatic victory for Lamar Jackson and them boys. First and foremost, I just want to ask you, what was your thoughts on that game and how Baltimore performed?
I was very thoroughly impressed with Baltimore's performance. First and foremost, I'm happy about the way things played out because it forced us as fans of the game to really pump the brakes on what we thought about this Patriots defense. Not to take anything away from them. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But, man, the performance that they put on was absolutely spectacular. When you look at the first quarter, the Patriots, I think the Baltimore got the ball first. They scored a touchdown, right? And we talk about the neutral zone infraction that happened on the field goal they were about to kick. Neutral zone infraction, which we rarely see.
Rarely see.
I mean, that's why I'm like, really?
And more importantly, the Patriots, I think they had 2 penalties on that opening drive.
Somebody got cut that day.
Whoever,
somebody's gone. But the neutral zone infraction, which ultimately led to Lamar Jackson running in for the touchdown. And then from there, I mean, every time the Patriots offense stepped on the field, the Baltimore defense suffocated them. It was absolutely 3 and out. Like, I don't think they didn't score at all in the first quarter, and then going into the second quarter, the only reason they scored was because of that fumble that they had on.
Cyrus Jones, he could not. He muffed the punt.
Right, and then they got really great field position, which set up. I think it was who ran it. I think it was Rex. No, I'm bugging her. Somebody. I think James White. I think it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Did they score first or did they connect on the field? I think they scored a field goal first.
And then I think James.
So
they scored a field goal first, and then there was another fumble, I think, later on.
Yes. Mark Ingram did fumble at one point, and that led to a touchdown as well.
Got you.
Yes.
And then I think they scored. That's when I believe James White scored.
Yeah.
But when you look at the numbers, I mean, Lamar Jackson, 17 for 23 on 163 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. But then you look rushing yards. I mean, my goodness, 16 carries, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns. Listen, I'm here to say it right now. Lamar Jackson is damn near the best pseudo running back on the team.
Without question.
Watching this man work, and he talks about it all the time in his interviews. He doesn't like running, right? He much would rather prefer to pass, but he can say whatever he wants to say. The man is a dual threat quarterback, and he is one of the biggest exemplifications of it in the league right now. When he gets out in the open field, and even when he's not in the open field, the shaking and the baking, it's absolutely sensational. But all in all, you're looking at this Patriots team go up against this Ravens team, and you see what the defense did to Tom Brady-led offense. I think Brady on the day, 30 for 46, 285, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions.
Oh, yeah, 1 interception.
He had one?
Yeah, he threw it.
Towards that. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But that was like when he threw it, that was like fuck it. Like
he lost. He thought, I got somebody down there, but it ain't Flash Gordon. It was Earl Thomas.
I'm looking at it. There were a couple wide receivers in the area, but none close enough to where I understood.
He was aiming for, I believe it was Mohamed Sanu, but he overthrew him by about 5 yards.
I think that was his primary target all night. He was really
pretty much
hard to get him because nobody else was really
Edelman in the slot, but Edelman was running those option routes, sort of intermediate crossing routes.
Got you.
However, it didn't necessarily benefit because the offensive line for the Patriots did not really give Tom Brady time. And the blueprint has always been the same to beat the Patriots since Belichick took over.
Right.
All right, what you got to do is run the football effectively. Right. You saw Baltimore do that. Mark Ingram had 115 yards on 15 carries?
15 carries, yeah.
All right, and then Lamar Jackson with 61 yards on the ground. Now, when you look at 61, it don't sound sexy, but those 61 yards were pivotal.
Very pivotal.
All right, because it set up 3rd and manageable. It set up 1st and 10. It set up different sort of situations. So Baltimore coming into the game, averaging over 200-plus yards on the ground. Right. They may not have gotten to 200, but they were over 150.
Right.
All right, so they were running the football effectively. Now, that's that's piece number 1 of the blueprint to beat the Patriots. Number 2, control time of possession. From what I remember, Baltimore controlled the time of possession of 37 minutes.
Right.
Tom Brady only had the football for 22 minutes.
Right.
The Patriots cannot win if they do not have the football in their hands.
Right.
All right? So that's number 2. Number 3, defend the middle of the field. And last I recall, all of the Patriots' yards, they did not come from that middle of the field.
Right.
All right? So the Baltimore Ravens checked off the 3 things to defeat the Patriots, and more importantly, they played mistake-free football.
Definitely.
Outside of those 2 fumbles, that was the only blemish on them on the game.
Right.
All right? They did nothing else wrong.
Right.
They played sensational football from start to finish.
Well, when you going back to the Patriots side of the ball, another thing we have to acknowledge is, I mean, how suspect to a certain degree that this offense looks, because right now you understand that the problems that they're having at the receiving core, right? You didn't have you lose an AB, no more Josh Gordon, no more Gronk. That was a big talk coming into the season. How are they going to replace him? And N'Keal Harry isn't back yet.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's another big thing of it. So naturally, you have to, if the passing options aren't there, you have to lean more on the run game, which has been a big problem for the Patriots because they just haven't really been able to run the football all that effectively this season. When you look at it against the Baltimore Ravens, James White on the day, 9 carries, 38 yards. He had a touchdown, but, once again, that was off the fumble, right? Then you had Rex Burkhead and Shoney Michel, who had the same exact stats. They both had 4 carries for only 18 yards, right? I think right now the team as a whole is only ranked somewhere 23rd, I think in the lower tier of the 20s in terms of their ability to run the football. So you don't have a lot of options in your receiving core. You're unable to run the football. The defense needed to show up last night in order for the Patriots to have some chance to beat this team. But the way that Baltimore was playing, it was tough because Lamar Jackson wasn't trying to put the ball down the field. A lot of it was just run through Mark Ingram, and they were doing a lot of like short passes. Right?
Yes. The tight ends, they're connected with Mark Andrews and also Doyle. I forget his first name.
Right.
I don't want to say Jack. No, Jack is the one who's on Indianapolis.
Oh, wow.
But this particular Doyle, I can't remember what his first name is.
Doyle
Boyle.
Yeah.
If you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you get the joke. But
All in all, it was a very fun game to watch. But now I gotta ask you, because the question now has arisen. This is the first loss of the New England Patriots season, and a lot of people are bringing into question this vaunted defense. A lot of people earlier on were talking about, is this an all-time? There was no question this is one of the better ones that we've ever seen, right, from the Bill Belichick-led team. But people were comparing them to the Ravens, right, the Bears, and all these other different teams. Given what you saw against this Baltimore team, I gotta ask you, Can we now say that we overrated the Patriots defense?
No, not at all. I feel the exact same way that I did I'd say midway through the season. Well, this is midway. I'd say a quarter through the season that I feel right now. This is very similar to what transpired for the 85 Bears, because if those of you guys who remember or you're football historians, Miami, they pretty much torched that defense. I believe they hung 38 points on them in 85, all right? Now, in the Patriots case, this was a game in which that team needed. They needed to be punched in the face because they started to think that their shit don't stink, all right? Coming into this game, I believe there are 19 interceptions on the year, leading the league in that category. They have the most takeaways, all right? When it comes to points per game, coming into the game, I think they were averaging about 7, 8 maybe. So they were completely destroying the opponents they were playing against. Granted, the best team that they played up until Baltimore was the Buffalo Bills, all right? And at that time, the Bills had an opportunity to win, but Josh Allen got hurt. Mike Barkley had to come in, and Barkley's not going to win, football game, especially trying to come from behind against the Patriots at that. But, in the case of how the Patriots are playing defensively, it's not as if the opposing team is inept in moving the football. The Patriots just strategically take care of business. So I'm not going to say they're overrated. Calling them an all-time defense, statistically, I would say that much. But watching the game, you can see as to why they're succeeding. But I wouldn't call them overrated.
I'm right there with you. I wouldn't go as far as to say overrated. I think that is a bit disrespectful because when you look at what the pieces that they have on the defensive side of the ball, Stephon Gilmore, arguably right now, if it's not him, it's definitely Marlon Humphrey. We're talking about one of the best corners in the game right now. You have a Devin McCourty. You have a Jamie Collins, Donta Hightower. What's the other boy's name?
You're thinking of, no, not Ninkovich. I'm bugging. Kyle Van Noy.
Boom, there you go. So they are ballers on the defensive side of the ball. So to sit here and say that we've overrated them is a bit much. I will say, though, that what this game did, going back to the point that I made earlier, it gave us a chance to just pump the brakes on them just a little bit. I've been saying it earlier on in the season, especially when I was talking about, Lamar Jackson and the virtuoso-esque performances that he was putting up against the Cardinals and, the Dolphins and other teams like that. It's not just about what you do. It's about who you do it against, right? And you go down the list of the teams that the Patriots were playing. They were playing scrubs all throughout up until this point. This has been the first time in the Patriots season that they played a team that they're most likely going to see again. They can see again in the playoffs. All other teams are not making the playoffs. You understand what I'm saying? So they definitely forced us to, I guess, take a moment to all right, hold on, let's wait and see how this thing really plays out. I'm very interested to see how this defense goes up against my Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not being, a homer and all that stuff. I'm genuinely curious because I think right now Pro Football Focus has them ranked as like one of the top offense in all of the NFL, if I remember correctly. I'll have to double check on that.
I'm not sure.
I believe so. I think that they're up there. But I know they play the Eagles next week, right? So that offense, they also have kind of similar problems that the Patriots have, limited receiving options. Deshaun Jackson, I think, is out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
So they've had Butterfingers all season.
Drops galore. It's ridiculous.
Put them on Times Square during New Year's Eve. They could work there.
Butterfingers, in your words. It's absolutely insane. So I'm not really paying attention to that game just in terms of what the defense is going to do. I think it's going to be a shellacking. But the Dallas Cowboys game is definitely going to be very, very interesting for me. I want to see how they perform up against them. But all in all, no. This defense is still elite. This defense is still one of the best that Belichick has ever coached. And I love what I'm seeing from him, right?
All right, sounds good. Now, to end off, with Baltimore, because a lot of people have been wondering about Lamar Jackson, where he's going to go moving forward. And I said this much. I covered it a little bit in my commentary. When we're talking about the best mobile quarterbacks in the league, this man is our generation's, Michael Vick. If you look back, backtracking in mobile quarterbacks in the elite play, you got Lamar Jackson now. Prior to him, you had the Cam Newtons of the world. Then you had a Mike Vick. Before that, you had the Randall Cunninghams. You had the Steve Youngs, back to the Frank Tarkentons. All right? These guys can absolutely bowl. And I've constantly said, I don't believe in Lamar Jackson being able to throw the football effectively, but if he's averaging about 170, through the air, but he's getting 60 on the ground, that's really all that you need.
Right.
You don't need to be that quarterback throwing for 300 because we fall in love with that now, given that it's a passing league and you see a Patrick Mahomes or, I guess in the past, an Andrew Luck. You see a Tom Brady. You see a Ben Roethlisberger. You see a Matthew Stafford. Hell, even a Carson Wentz going out there and slinging it every single game. So you assume that's what the standard should be. But with Lamar Jackson, if you're running and it's winning your football games, then hell, why not?
Right.
All right, because Mike Vick wasn't killing people 300 yards per game. That wasn't the case.
Right.
He was giving you 190. He was giving you 220, and on the ground, he was giving you 80.
Right.
And if that's enough to get a team to the NFC Championship, damn it, that could do enough for Baltimore to get to the AFC Championship. So I would say that Lamar Jackson's living up to the hype. A lot of people asking the question marks. For me right now, he's made me a believer. I believe in Lamar Jackson. I'd like to see more passing, but damn it, he don't have to. So he's got me as a believer, man. But do you think he's lived up to the hype coming into the NFL?
Well, of course, 100%. Because first and foremost, right now, I think he's the best quarterback out of his draft class. Who else was in there? We got Baker, who I think was also in there.
Baker,
and we know how
Sam Darnold, Josh
Darnold.
Rosen, Josh Allen.
Yep.
And there's one more name.
We probably won't remember. So we're
JT Barrett was in there too, but he ain't getting no playing time.
Is he still in the NFL?
Oh yeah, he is. I think he's on like third string on New Orleans.
Yeah, okay, got you. Okay, so he's definitely lived up to the hype. Let's call it what it is.
Mitchell Trubisky? No.
Mitchell Trubisky was the year before that, right?
It was the year before
that. Got you. We're never. You being who you are, it's gonna hit you like later on.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, so
most likely.
You sure you want to try again one more time?
All right, so you got Baker. He was number 1 overall. I think Darnold was number 3. Josh Allen, Rosen, that was 4. There was a 5th guy because there was 6 in the first round, and Baker was, pardon me, and Lamar was taken last of that 6 in the first round. I'm trying to remember who else got taken.
We're not gonna remember.
Probably not.
It's gonna be one of those things that hit you at the end, like boom, and then bam. Listen, when it comes to Lamar, this team rallies around this kid. They play hard for this dude, and it's a delight watching him play the game, man. He evidently, you know that when Lamar Jackson steps on the field, he's not going to beat you with his arm. He's going to beat you with his legs, right? You're not looking for Lamar, like you said, going back to your Michael Vick point. You're not looking for Lamar to put up 400 yards in the air and pass 40 times. No, you're looking for him to have a game where he's going to pass maybe 20, 25 times, maybe 30, because he's had 1 or 2 games. I think he's passed for over 35 attempts in a game or whatever. But he's going to beat you with his legs. My only thing with Lamar is, while, yes, that is what he's going to use to win you football games, I'm concerned about his health down the line. Because you bring up a Michael Vick, right, who is, goodness, you want to talk about a dual-threat quarterback, one of the best to ever do it. He himself, early on last year, when Lamar was going on his run throughout the regular season, when he got his chance to start, he came out and said, if you had to, I think he was on the sports show, and they asked him, like, if you had to give Lamar Jackson some advice right now, what would you tell him? He was like, run less, right? Because as you progress and as you go on, and we look at a guy like a Cam Newton, who we're going to get ready to talk about a little bit later, it can only go on so long because the hits accumulate, right? The wear and tear starts to build up on your body, especially a guy like him with more of a slimmer frame, not really like a Vic or a superhuman body-esque type dude like a Cam Newton or whatever the case may be. But it's working for him right now, right? I think as he progresses, I would like to see him pass more, right? Better his throwing ability. I'm not saying he has to turn into a passer because, once again, that's just not who he is. And if that's not who he's ever going to be, then so be it. Whatever wins you football games. But down the line, as he grows older and as his career progresses, he is going to have to lean away more from the running. And when that happens, it's going to be interesting to see how it all transitions. But all in all, man, I love what I'm seeing from this kid. But for me, I think the biggest thing, I need to see it in the playoffs. Right, I absolutely need to. Did you figure out who it was?
No, there was in the first round. It was just those 5. And then afterwards you had the JT Barrett and the Mason Rudolph. I really had to go and look.
I know, because I knew it was bothering you.
On my mind.
I knew it was.
It turns out it was just 5. It wasn't 6.
Okay,
but JT Barrett was
there
the
any
6th.
other quarterbacks later on in that
Mason
draft?
Rudolph and JT Barrett.
That's it?
Those two. But I really want to go through it because I got the 3rd round. I'm like, I'm not going to keep looking through the 6 rounds and everything like that. But, as you were saying with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, when it comes to Lamar Jackson, I love what I'm seeing from him. I love how this team rallies behind him. I love the way that he plays the game. Like I said, health-wise, down the line, he is going to have to lean away from that so as much running, which Michael Vick himself has come out and co-signed. But for me, I have to see it in the playoffs because we saw what happened to him last year in the playoffs. Where he
got exposed.
It was bad. I don't think it's going to be the same case this year. I think that this team is definitely new and improved. And he himself has shown that he has gotten better on in his passing and his running ability and stuff like that. So I like what I'm seeing from him, but I like I said, I need to see how it looks in the playoffs, and then I'll be able to decide.
Now I'll ask you this regarding a quarterback that we have seen in the playoffs. Cam has been put on IR.
Oh, Cam.
And okay, Dion, but his season is over.
Oh, it's done.
Now, would you consider his career in Carolina over? Because I watched this video on his YouTube channel where he addressed his injury situation, but this was back in September. This is prior to, him announcing, I don't think I'm going to be able to come back, and then they're placing him on IR. I'll say this much. Cam's situation is very interesting, and you've been saying since the beginning of the season, they said explore trading him, and I have since turned. I believe that they should explore trading Cam. That's not to say that he's not better than Kyle Allen, because I still believe even an injured Cam Newton is better than Kyle Allen. Yeah. And that's no slight on Kyle Allen. I'm just I love the way that Cam Newton plays football. But if I'm Carolina, you got 19 mil. You got 19 mil. You'll probably get back if you trade him or cut him. Teams will be willing to go find somebody like him, and more importantly, a team like Chicago desperately, they can use somebody like a Cam Newton. And I've constantly said it. I don't know how many times I have to reiterate, reverberate, and regurgitate this said sentiment regarding that. I'm not one to pull the plug on young QBs, but if you're reaching for the outlet, I understand in the case of Mitch Trubisky. So if I am Chicago, I might try to make a move for Cam in this offseason to try to get him there next year. But for Cam, man, I think it's over in Carolina. I'd have to hand it to you. You had the right opinion early. You had me.
I said it from the beginning of the season when he went down. I said, I'm not saying trade him, but I wouldn't be upset if you started taking some calls. I wouldn't be upset if you started making some calls like, you want my son Cam Newton? And all due respect to this man, right? He did lead them to a Super Bowl. He once was a regular season MVP. I mean, this guy at his peak was a force to be reckoned with. You saw how the team rallied around, how the city rallied. Like, when you think about Carolina, when you think about the Carolina Panthers, you instantly think Cam Newton. Everything about him, his swagger, his ability, the way he carries himself, his confidence, what he's done for, not just for the position, but for, if you want to go into like the whole racial and social thing, but
a lot.
The black quarterback,
he's done
a ton, right? So all due respect and love to this man, but listen, the best ability is availability. And the fact of the matter is, Cam Newton just doesn't show you right now that he's going to be available down the line. Why? I've been saying it since the beginning of the season. You have a guy in a Cam Newton where, like a Lamar Jackson, it's not that he can't pass, but he's not going to win you games with his arm. He's going to win you games with his dual threat ability, his ability to run and create after the play and things of that nature, right? So because of that, as he progresses and as he gets older and as those, especially Cam is 6'6", 250, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a big boy, right? Yeah. And naturally, defensive players are going to hit low to make sure they get him down. You heard about Gronk talking about stuff like that all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's even worse for a guy like him, because not only is he a dual threat quarterback, but he's just a naturally bigger guy. Yeah. So the smaller players have to go low, hit him in the knees, hit him in the legs. So his moneymakers essentially are getting cooked, cremated, decimated by those defensive players. And as you get older, naturally your body starts to get, it's all commonsensical to me. So when I put all those things together from the beginning, I'm like, trade him. It's about that time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's a hard thing to him, because once again, he is the heart and soul of that team. But when you look at what's going on right now, I mean, Kyle Allen on the season, 60.7 completion percentage, 1,291 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, nothing spectacular, right? But then you look at what's going on with C-Mac, right? 65 carries, 881 yards rushing, 10 rush touchdowns, 42 receptions, 363 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. The team is, I think, under Kyle Allen, he's 6 starts, 5-1. Yep, they've looked impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to, for some way, somehow sneak their way into a wild card.
Well, it's going to be kind of tough, but it's possible. It definitely is possible.
The possibility.
Anything can happen.
And once again, going back to your point, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to sit here and say Kyle Allen is a better quarterback than Cam Newton. You'd have to be smoking crack cocaine to be thinking that. It's just not the truth. But once again, the best ability is availability. I'd rather take a good quarterback, hypothetically speaking. I'd rather take a good quarterback that I know is going to be there every single game versus a great quarterback where every season I'm kind of like flipping the coin, like, all right, are you going to be here? Are you going to not? Am I going to have to put you on IR or whatever? Mm-hmm. And that's just what it's looking like, what it's going to be with Cam. So now you mentioned, right, if he is to get traded.
Yeah,
teams
Chicago.
And possibilities and things of that nature.
For me, it's Chicago, Tennessee. Okay. But you let me know who you had in mind.
Why Chicago and why Tennessee? If you don't mind
Chicago. You have questions at the quarterback, and really they're just missing a quarterback. If I'm Chicago, you got David Montgomery, who's there. He can run the football. You got Tariq Cohen, that's a scat back. You could use him in third down sort of situation. Mm-hmm. Very similar to Chester Taylor with the old Minnesota Vikings at the tail end of the 2000s. You have a defense that can get it done. Right. The reason why they're not performing to the same level as last year, they're being on the field much longer because the offense is simply inept. Now, granted, Chicago's missing the deep ball.
Yes.
That's something that they're desperately missing.
Right.
Cam Newton is an overthrowing poppy. However, somebody who's a big body like Allen Robinson is somebody that Cam has needed for years.
Right.
All right. He needs big body receivers. Chicago has one that's there. You still have those smaller guys in the slot. They have those pieces around. Right. I think he could fit right in there like a glove. And in Tennessee, you got Derrick Henry, who's back there, so that's a sensational running back. And if you have Derrick Henry back there who can run the football, I think that could be, reminiscent of the 2009 Tennessee Titans with Chris Johnson and Vince Young. You can have that mobile QB threat that can run the football, so it forces the opposing linebacker, the outside linebacker, to stay at home. That takes somebody else who's stacking the box. You now have to play smart. So instead of having 8 stacked, it's really 7 stacked. So from that point, I think Tennessee could be the fit too, and you got a couple of good receivers over there. So I say Tennessee and Chicago.
I'm right there with you. Another name that another team that you got to throw out there, but this is a team that I'm going to put out there, and it has an asterisk attached to it. And we talked about this off the scenes. The Denver Broncos. Now, let me make a proposition that I told you about that seems a little bit insane, but if it was to happen, would make sense to me, right? You have a Denver Broncos team that's been struggling from the quarterback position for quite some time now, ever since Peyton's, walked away from the game. You go down the list of Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, Joe Flacco, Drew Lock. I don't think he's gotten his chance yet. No.
Nah, he's been hurt. I think he hasn't been activated yet.
Paxton Lynch, and I think who's starting now?
Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen. Okay, yes. He beat the.
He won against the Browns.
Got you. Boom.
2 TDs, 75-yard touchdown to Noah Fant. A beautiful touchdown catch from Cortland Sutton, where I think he mossed. Was it Denzel Ward?
I remember that.
Yeah, he dove and caught it right over.
Crazy.
Sensational catch.
Crazy.
All right, and Phillip Lindsay had 9 carries for 92 yards in the TD with a sensational touchdown run as well.
There you go.
But yeah, Denver, I do agree with you. I think that'd be a good fit for Cam as well.
Denver would be a good fit. This is an organization, all right? John Elway has been very hit or miss these past couple of years in terms of his quarterback search. I think Cam would fit in well to that system as long as they put the right pieces around him. Because going back to your point, if we're talking about what he needs to be behind, worst case scenario, a good offensive line.
Yeah, Denver, they don't got it.
And they don't have it.
They don't got it.
They don't have it, which is why I made the proposition. Look, I know this may seem crazy in saying or whatever the case may be, but you look at a player like Von Miller. He's the heart and soul of that team. Yes, I give you that. But I look at that situation the way I look at the Oakland Raiders situation with the Khalil Mack, right? You have 2 all-time great talents, right? But at the same time, there's so many holes around that team and so many other pieces needed for that team to progress and move forward, right? When the Khalil Mack trade happened, everybody lost their mind. It's like, oh my goodness, Khalil Mack, all-time great time. It's not that he wasn't great. It's just that if you can use one great player to get a bunch of other good players to scatter around on both sides of the foot, do that. Because right now, the Oakland Raiders, they don't look great, but damn, they're on the rise. They're right there.
They are, and I am extremely ecstatic for them.
They look solid. They look really, really solid. And now John Gruden and Mike Mayock are sitting there like, told you niggas, you understand? So
2 years away. They're about a year and a half, 2 years away.
Same thing with the Denver Broncos. Von Miller, if he's not top 10, he's at least top 12 all players in the league.
Absolutely.
That's me.
I say he's a top 10 player in the league.
The man is a stud. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. One of the best at what he does. But the fact of the matter is, on the offensive line and just all around on his team, there's just so many holes that need to be filled. If you can move Von Miller, right, to whether it be to get Cam or whatever, and to get some draft picks in where you can buff up that O-line, get him a big wide receiver that can come in on that team, right? Buff up the defense, all that. Make it happen. And you can make it. And for me, going back to a line that Max Kellerman on First Take says all the time, it's better a year early than a year late, right? Right now, the man, Von Miller, is in his prime. Yes, he's the face of the Denver Broncos. Yes, he's the best player on the team. But if you can move him right now, and you can, where he is and the ability that he's still in his prime, move him to get a couple of draft picks that you convert to some good pieces, I say make it happen. So I like the Denver Broncos.
I think it's a good idea. Okay. You can possibly make the move to trade Vaughn, but
I know
I'm not sure if it's gonna be Elway who's supposed to be at the helm to make those picks because he's been very iffy at bringing in a quarterback. But if you make the trade with Carolina to bring in Cam Newton, you had better make sure you bring in a ton of picks as well.
Yes.
Because if you're gonna trade somebody, you want to have the best case scenario if you trade a big time name, similar to what the Oakland Raiders, where they got a ton of picks, and we'll see how that all transpires moving forward.
Right.
But the best sort of, a model that you can look at is that Herschel Walker trade in '89, I believe, where Dallas got all of those picks that turned into all of that core that they needed to win those Super Bowls. So if Denver is to make the move for Cam, it better not just be player for a player because they need to make sure they zoop up other positions. And John Elway did a hell of a job in his first 3 years in bringing in the right pieces. But since then,
it's been
kind of rough. I believe John Elway can turn it around, but we'll see moving forward. And that, what we should get to, because we're talking about pieces, we got to make sure we talk about an individual who looked as if right now he don't really got no career. He might just be selling pieces because he need to be the host of the Itchy and Scratchy show on The Simpsons and take Krusty the Clown out of business because your man's who's
no your man's that's not my guy. He played for your team. He ain't never wore the silver and metallic blue. That's you. So you go ahead. Go ahead.
He trying to.
Oh, we don't want him.
He trying
We're good.
to.
We're good. We're good.
Antonio Brown.
No.
Enough from the clown. He is wilding out here in these streets. I don't know if you've seen recently on this man's Twitter feed.
Oh, I've seen it.
But he's supposed to meet with the NFL next week. But he says, fuck the NFL. They not doing good by us blacker folks. And then 5 hours later, this man gets back on Twitter. And says, I apologize for my outburst. I actually am a little bit emotional. I would love to be back on the NFL field. What is going on with Antonio Brown Clown? You let me know, because Joker movie just came out, but evidently I saw Antonio Brown's in the credits. All right. Good Lord.
Yo, what's wrong with your boy? What's wrong with your man? First of all, is it Antonio Clown or Clowntonio Brown? We could really go either way. Yeah, I mean, it's your guy. Yes. What is wrong with Antonio Brown? It's sad. It's absolutely sad. You know what's funny? I saw initially when he tweeted out that first tweet. And when he tweeted out that first tweet, I sent it to you and I was like, first off, nobody was saying anything about Antonio Brown at all leading up to it. That's why I was confused. Nobody was talking about his upcoming meeting with the NFL. Nobody was talking about if he'll ever come back. Nobody said a word about this man. He was just chilling in the crib like, man, fuck y'all. I'm about to do something now. He's like, I need some attention. I need to make something happen. He was like, fuck the NFL. I don't need y'all. Y'all treat black people wrong. And on top of that, I don't know if you read the tweets close. He said he was going back to CMU. I think he needs to stay there. He don't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to write. He's very illiterate.
I think he might be taking online classes. I don't know.
He need to figure it out because all that money, he need a writing tutor. He's fucking up. He's it's really
Malcolm X could write a better paper than him right now. Malcolm X is real busy. Too busy being dead. I mean, AB can't write worth a lick.
I'd put my money on Stevie Wonder passing a written test before AB, and he can't see. So that tells you a lot about man. It's absolutely terrible. So he puts that tweet out, and I said to you, I'm like, yo, bro, was like nobody was talking about you. What is this about? Nobody's worried about you. We worried about the season. We worried about football. You're not a part of football. Ain't nobody looking at you. Cool. Then a couple hours later, some tweets nothing. He's like, hey, my bad on that last tweet. I actually want to play in the NFL. I'd really love to be back in the NFL. I'm a little emotional. I just love football. Holla at me when you can.
Enough from the clown. I mean,
listen, going back to the point that we've been making since the whole Oakland Raiders debacle. No, not we. I give it to you because you've been saying this since day one, and I co-signed and I agreed with it. The man clearly has no one around him to snatch the phone from his hand or just put him up against the wall and be like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Because that's essentially what's going on. The man, he's a loose cannon. I don't know who he has in a circle, square, triangle, whatever it is, but he needs to make some type of adjustments around him because he's fucking up. He looks bad. And tweet by tweet, moment after moment, he is only ruining his image even more. It's absolutely sad. What do you take on it?
He may never play it down in the NFL ever, and it has nothing to do with his ability on the field. This man has single-handedly become probably the most self-destructive. The most self-destructive football player in history.
I think his Twitter account is going to need a football life.
How are you kidding me?
Ruined an entire Hall of Fame career. It's terrible.
30 for 30 coming to your ESPN Plus. You know, soon enough it's only going to be on Plus, so you got to pay a subscription for that.
Yeah.
You can get you a harlot who has the ESPN Plus. All right, but regardless, AB is just
it's bad.
It's
terrible.
Terrible. This man here, I don't know what's going on with him. I'd love to point it towards like, oh, these just bipolarism. Man got CTE or something like that. But it really just goes down to he never had anybody check him. Nobody's checking him.
And it kind of shows you, in no shade against your team, but let's just call it what it is. It kind of makes you wonder how much Pittsburgh enabled him.
Oh, absolutely.
Back when he was there. Because he was the star talent, because he was the guy when he was there. How much stuff they swept under the rug, how much bullshit that they tolerated. You heard the reports about late to meetings and all this, late to the practice and all these other different things. The star treatment that he got treated with. Ultimately, him trying to take that same BS to Oakland ain't work. Well, I mean, it kind of worked out because John Gruden was trying to,
he damn near bent over backwards. He got sodomized by AB verbally.
And then he tried to bring that same nonsense and Fugagamo to New England, and he found out quick, oh, no, we don't fuck around with that shit. Bye-bye. And then that was it. And now he's over here still trying to play by his rules and do it his way. And what he fails to understand and realize is, bruh, the league is going to go on without you. You are an all-time great player, one of the best to ever play your position. But trust and believe, more will come after you who probably will be better. Let's just call it what it is. It's going to be a bunch but it'll be here and there, and the league will continue to move forward with or without you.
And on top of that, if you look at the teams that he participated for, Pittsburgh is sitting at 5. They're sitting at 500 at 4-4. Oakland has just got over 500, sitting at 5-4, and the Patriots, they may have just had one loss, but they've only got one loss on the season. AB can be replaced,
right?
Regardless of this man being a Hall of Fame talent, regardless of this man having 6 years that was unmatched by anybody in history. The only thing that came close was the fact that Jerry Rice had 95 touchdowns in a 6-year span. But outside of that, nothing came close to what Antonio Brown was putting up. Now it makes you wonder, was it really AB or was it the quarterback play? Was he something that he was just a weapon, but he wasn't something that was a necessity? Because teams can win without you. And this is just like when we talked about off of the air, where I said this is a guy where AB became bigger than Antonio Brown.
Right.
The personality and the face, the figure that was AB came bigger than Antonio Brown, the man. He fell in love with that, celebrity that came with his name, with his brand, and now he's completely out of whack. And I'll say this much. Right now, he's talking about the NFL possibly, hey, I'd love to play for the NFL again. I cannot envision a circumstance in which this man plays another down in the NFL. He's since ruined that relationship. Do you think Antonio Brown will play one more down in the NFL?
You know what's crazy? In my heart of hearts, I want to say he'll never play football again, but I gotta say, man, I think he might get another shot. It's real because what the NFL has shown you time in and time out is that talent trumps all. And I think pending on how his sexual assault case, and because right now I think that's what the meeting is for, right? Like all the sexual, pending on however that pans out and things that how that pans out, whether he's guilty, innocent, whatever it may be. If all the charges are cleared and he's good to go, you don't think that there are going to be teams knocking on Antonio Brown's door? You don't think the Philadelphia Eagles, if they could get their hands on Antonio Brown, would be reaching out to him right now? The Denver Broncos, the who else? The list just go. Anybody would love the New England. New England Patriots might not go back to it. We don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another chance. It's just that within the league, you know how winning is everything. Winning is what every week every week in and week out, these coaches and these players are playing for spots on their teams and to be and to preserve their jobs. And if you can get an all-time great talent in a player, you don't give a fuck about what's going on behind the scenes, right? You don't care about none of that. If you can get your hands on Antonio Brown as a manager, given all the butkaka that he's put on, I think they do it. So I listen, I don't want to see a black man without a job. He said he don't need football, so I don't know what his financial status is looking like. I would love to see him playing again. It's always fun to watch him. But do I think he's going to get another opportunity? I wouldn't be surprised. So there you go.
I would say that it's a possibility that he can, but I honestly do think that he's played his last down in the NFL because who's willing to deal with all of this social media sort of thing? You'd have to bar this man from his Twitter.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to deactivate all the accounts. Yeah.
Absolutely. You could not. And now they have people talking about there's a possibility they figured out what his burner accounts is.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah, he might just be. KD Challenge. He graduated from his university. Whatever the case may be. Antonio Brown, on talent alone, there's a possibility he could, but I think the NFL is going to start wiping themselves of these clowns and these prima donnas who try to be bigger than the organizations, and they try to make their name bigger and larger than life. And it's not to say that you can't be an individual. It's not to say that you can't be a superstar, which you should strive to be. But if you think that you can hold yourself over an organization and try to hold the organization to your will, you're going to have a bad time, especially if you do it the way that Antonio Brown did, where there's zero accountability that's there. There's zero of the microscope where you hold yourself responsible for your actions. That's the wrong way to go about it.
Well, you made a remark about Antonio Brown and about how AB became bigger than life. AB became bigger than Antonio Brown. Well, there's been something else that's been going on in the news as of recently. There's been something else that's been going on in the streets that damn near seems as if, or everyone else is making it seem as if, it's bigger than life. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Popeyes. The Popeyes chicken sandwich. You seen it. You've been around it. You smelt it. You know what I'm talking about. The hottest thing on the block. Make it since I don't know, since sliced bread. I don't know, since me. We don't know. All right. The Popeyes chicken sandwich is back. I thought it was done after the first one. Yes, it's me. I thought it was done. I really did. And I know it was a very hard transition, but we're going to keep it rolling anyway. I thought it was done. But the Popeyes chicken sandwich is back, and it's here to stay. All right, that's what they're saying. That's what I'm hearing in the streets. That's what they're telling me. Now, I myself, actually, the plan was, I'm not going to lie to you, I wanted to go to Popeyes before we came to record here, get the chicken sandwich, and try it for the first time live, right? Okay. And give a live reaction here on the episode 15. I went to 4 different Popeyes. Every single one had lines that stretched outside the store. And it's
good Lord,
bro. Listen, you and me, like for those who aren't in New York right now, it is brickety dickety. It's about 20, 30 degrees outside. There are lines, every single one of them, that stretch outside the Popeyes. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, I'm gonna go take my podcast, bro. I don't got no time for this bullshit. I don't really know if I like chicken all that much, but. There is someone at this table who has tried the sandwich, I think 3 times.
Yep, yes, indeed.
3 times.
Yes,
and that man will be the man sitting across from me. That would be you. So I got to ask you, I'm not qualified to speak on it, but I'm going to ask you, the Chiseled Adonis, let us know. Is the Popeyes chicken sandwich worth the hype?
Oh, boy. It's kind of like sleeping with a model.
Okay.
And only finding out that this box is the same as that lady I slept with who lived behind the dumpster. Like it's no different.
Wait a minute.
Like this sandwich was nothing that really had your socks coming off. They told me the sandwich was damn near orgasmic.
Okay.
All right. I put a condom on before I ate it.
Oh, that's a bit much.
I was disappointed because there was no climax.
Okay.
All right. Now, when it comes down to this sandwich, I'll say this much: there is some ippies. There's some spice. There's some good smell.
Okay.
Flavor.
Okay.
It resides there.
Nah.
But it was nothing that made me want to go somewhere and pull up with the toolie and shoot somebody to get a hand on a goddamn sandwich. I'll say that much. All right. Now, granted, a couple of people did message me and they said, the first batch was a little bit different than the second. Well, if that is indeed the case, Popeyes is messing up because they're gonna lose customers.
Got you.
You can't get somebody addicted on the first batch and you put out a second batch and people gonna be like, this joint is terrible.
Yeah.
Get out my figgy. I want to blow up the spot. No ISIS. So you never know what'll happen moving forward. But for this sandwich, it's average, man. It's nothing that's
Is it better than Chick-fil-A?
I cannot say it is.
Really?
I cannot say it is.
What's cheaper than Chick-fil-A's? Because Chick-fil-A sandwich, how much is Chick-fil-A? Just the sandwich by itself. I think it's like $5, $6.
Yeah, it's probably like $5. Popeyes chicken sandwich is only $3.99.
Oh,
yeah, $4.
4 inch and change, right? With tax and all that.
$4.36 most likely.
$4.36. Okay. Yeah. So you tried it 3 times. Now break down. Why exactly did you try 3? Because you had it the first time, then you made the rant, which is trending right now. It's doing really good numbers. You were just like, yo, this sandwich regular, blah, 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 blah. And then you made the second video where I think did you have one more or two? And you showed every single bite that you
Absolutely,
took.
Yep.
Okay.
For the first sandwich of the two, yes.
Okay, and all in all, every single time, did you taste a difference at all, or was it the same bullshit?
It started to kick in midway through, where I'd say, all right, I was like, yo, this joint regular. Oh, I could taste the flavor. Towards the back of the sandwich, the spices started to kick in. Right now, when the spices kicked in, I said,
Did you get a spicy or mild for all three?
Spicy.
All of them?
Yeah, it was all spicy. Yeah, because it was a spicy chicken sandwich. I figured that's what it's supposed to be. And I can taste why people would have that kick. However, as I mentioned in my video, which is sitting at 18,000 views on YouTube right now. Now, on Instagram, I think it's about like 10,000. Whatever the case may be, I'm not really doing too much views like that. Luckily, I have multiple burner accounts. KD Challenge, I graduated with a PhD. But with the review of the sandwiches, I'd say that the spice, the flavor was there. But again, like I said, it was nothing worth, shooting somebody over. It was nothing worth, like my girl left me for a Popeyes employee because he can go and make sandwiches. I don't know why she left. I thought she left because of the food. Turns out she's just a hoe.
Just a hoe.
So, it is what it is.
Well, there are a lot of people that would disagree with you. More specifically, some people in a place called Maryland, because the past week, I believe, a 28-year-old man in Maryland was actually stabbed to death at a Popeyes over the chicken sandwich. Now, apparently what happened is I've read a couple of different articles, and they're all saying the same thing. It was a line for this chicken sandwich. A man came in, the man who got stabbed up, picky, came in, tried to skip in front of the line, and then I guess he got into an argument with dude who's on the line. The dispute escalated outside, got stabbed up, son dead. Over some meat in between a bun and some pickles. Is this pickles on it? Is there pickles?
Yeah,
or
pickles.
Okay, got you. He's done. Life over. Finish. Finito. Bagay fini la net. All right? So, I mean, you say that it's not worth the hype, but somebody lost their life over this guy.
Nah, that's pure ignorance. If you fixing to go somewhere, you pull up with a poking tool.
Why'd you come to the Popeyes with them?
That's a premeditated sort of like, yo, if I don't get my chicken, somebody gonna die.
First of all, this was at a crowded Popeyes, ladies and gentlemen. Meaning that, and it wasn't like he was shot away. No, this wasn't a driver. He was stabbed, meaning this was a close range.
Multiple times.
So meaning, if this was a Popeyes, at least 10 people saw this shit go down. So, this man is still at large. There hasn't been anybody else. Meaning, people saw it and nobody reported this. Why? Because nobody wants to be the snitch on a man who's willing to take a life for a chicken sandwich. That man is a dangerous man indeed. I don't want no smoke. All right, with the chicken man slicer. I don't want it.
Why do they call it at large? That's still hilarious.
Because he's at large. He's at large.
If my brother committed a crime, right?
Oh, the unchiseled Adonis?
Yeah, if the unchiseled Adonis committed a crime and we say he was at large, could that be considered fat shaming?
That is funny, but it might be.
That's something to wonder about. But
it's bad. So, I mean,
stabbing people, that's just ridiculous.
Did you know about the story before you heard about it?
I was aware somebody got shot. I did not know somebody got shot. Yeah, somebody did get
over
shot.
the chicken sandwich?
Yes.
Oh, it's real out here.
Yeah, because they done walked in, they said, yo, there was only one order left, and the man was upset that the other person happened to get him. Now, mind you, the person who did the shooting had just came to the store.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't as if he was online and then got denied the opportunity to order.
Okay.
This man was fresh to the line only to find out there was no chicken sandwich remaining.
Shit.
Now, you could have just ordered some chicken and then got a bun on the side and put the meat in betwixt the bun. But I'm not understanding as to why.
I don't know. There was another video, and I don't know if you saw this one. I wanted to share it with you so bad. It had me in tears.
Oh, was it the old
white man?
Oh,
bro,
yes, it was.
Listen. Here's my thing when it comes to racism, right? Obviously racism matters, whatever, but I don't like low key racism. You understand? If you were racist, let me know. Be overt with it. That man was very open and honest about who he was as an individual. He came in guns a-blazing. He said, "What you gonna do about nigga?" Just kept saying it. And here's where you know it was serious. There was Popeyes full of black people. They was all just standing there waiting. Like, who's going to throw the first?
Oh, yeah.
Because naturally, as a black, and when you're in a black crowd or whatever, you hear the N-word come up. So, that's the key word. We can stole off on this man. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody did nothing. Matter of fact, he started testing dude he was talking to. I don't know what happened before that, but he started jumping at him, whatever. And the highlight of the video was, as he was walking out, he was like, fucking nigga, get the fuck out of my way. And they parted the space like Moses with the sea. Son walked out. Was one of the most gangster videos I ever seen. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. Just Google white man goes crazy in Popeye. Old white man goes crazy in Popeye. Shit was hilarious. So the Popeye chicken sandwich is hot in the streets. But that's not the only thing that's popping off in the streets. Actually, for this next topic, I don't think it's any popping going on at all. It ain't nothing.
At least in T.I.'s case, I hope so.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, if it is happening, it would be expeditious. I don't even know what the word means. You know what it means.
Expeditiously.
Yes. I know you're a wordsmith. Do you know what that means? Expeditiously.
I assume
think it means. Does it mean quickly or immediately?
I believe it is.
Because iciously is like quick or whatever. Expeditiously.
Yes, with speed and efficiency.
There you go. Expeditiously.
Expeditiously.
Oh, hold on. Play that again. Who that?
Oh, was it the Brit?
Expeditiously. Oh, that's how. Wait, put that in the mic. Put that in the mic
real quick.
Expeditiously.
Wait, ooh, who's that? Wait, I don't got that on my phone. I don't got that on my phone. Siri don't sound like that. That was that British?
Oh no, that's Android for you. See, that's Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
For you. See,
poor man's iPhone.
We just have the sexy ladies.
Well, we have
who
Siri.
do the voiceover for us.
Who's
Siri?
Siri is fire.
Siri has 4 letters.
ISIS
also does too. So basically, that's what we're learning right here. But in the case of T.I., this man going to every gynecologist appointment for his daughter to make sure to see if that hymen is indeed popped. That is
well, first of all, biologically speaking, and the doctor, he did say that the doctor did tell him this, but it's like the hymen can get popped by several other activities besides sex. I have like lady friends of mine that did dance that said that they popped their hymen like through like certain moves and stretches and shit like that.
Do the splits.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. And the doctor did tell him that, but he's like, hey, she ain't doing none of that shit. Just tell me if the hymen there, right? Apparently, his daughter's hymen is still there. There was a comment on Twitter that made me laugh, though. It was like, you could check the hymen, but there ain't nothing to check if that throat work. It's something about her throat. And I was like,
absolutely.
That's a very good point. That is a very good point. But all in all, when I heard the news, I was a little shocked. I was weak at first. I was like, oh, no. And I was weak because I thought he was joking. And then I heard the podcast. I was like, oh, no, he's serious.
And he doubled down.
Oh, he doubled down.
He
like, he was very, very serious. And there were a lot of people that came out and there was a lot of outrage and all this stuff. Initially, when you heard the comments, and now that's died down a bit, what are your overall thoughts about this procedure and process?
Insecurity.
Okay.
Insecurity, and there's insecurity that's there, and there's just terrible parenting. If you're one who has to continually monitor it to see if your daughter is having sex,
right?
You're a clown. Like this man, get him the same shoes that Antonio Brown is wearing, because what is the purpose? What is honestly the purpose?
Yeah,
children are going to go out and have sex if they're going to have. Your goal as a parent is to make sure you instruct what can transpire if you do this,
right?
Without understanding the consequence of your actions. Mm-hmm. In the case of a woman, a daughter specifically, if you do go and you engage in all of this frivolous sexual activity, you just got to make sure, all right, if I do it, am I safe to where I don't get any STDs, STIs, and more importantly, am I in a position in which I do not get pregnant because I am not prepared to go and raise a kid?
Right.
The same way that you would raise your daughter to make her understand what happens, because when you get pregnant, you are the one who's pregnant.
Right.
Us men, we have the benefit of just being able to shoot and not have to worry about anything bodily happening.
Right.
With women, that's 9 months. You've got to deal with a child growing inside of you.
Right.
Now, the same way that he instructs his girl to make sure she understands the weight of what can transpire, he can do the same with his son. This is where T.I. messed up, because he said solely for his daughter to make sure, I'm going to make sure, she not out here getting fucked. Nobody clapping her cheeks. But when it came to his son, you go out there, you sling that. So you never really put into perspective the fact that this man could get somebody pregnant, mess around and be binded for 18 years.
Right.
From what I saw, once I saw the news, I said, this man is a clown. If you're doing all of that, first and foremost, what does that say towards your daughter? And what is that sort of interpersonal sort of relationship between father to parent or father to daughter? Because the way I see this, you're only occupying the space as an authoritarian sort of figure.
Right.
So you're only putting that fear into your child child. Right. And more importantly, you're holding their entire value to sex. You're not over here asking, yo, how's your grades? You're not over here asking, what's your passion? Amen. You're not over here asking if your child is happy. Right. You're just trying to figure out if they fucking or not. Right. Where do you stand as a parent? The way I see it, homie out here looking like a clown. You call him TIP. The man's name is Tip. Well, evidently, you're trying to make sure nobody getting no tips in your daughter, and it's all a matter of time before they start putting tips in her G-string because she only values sex because that's what her father thinks that she's all about. She fixing to start stripping. Call her Tokyo Tony. She gonna start asking white man would they like to eat her pussy on command.
Yo, very well said, my brother, within your soliloquy. And to double down on your point, to add on to it, everything you said was so thoroughly put and very well said. But to add on to it, and as Haitian kids, we can definitely relate to this. What parents like this don't understand is that, first of all, there's levels to this, right? There's strict, there's discipline, there's strict, there's protective, there's overprotective. This is damn near invasive. You understand? Like this like when I read it, I'm like, you do too much. You understand? But now when you're a parent like this, where you're extremely overbearing to a child, instead of having a genuine heart-to-heart to them, where, like you said, you educate them and say, hey, look, these are the risks that come with this practice and activity. Because I think it was Steve Harvey who said it best. When it comes to parenting, there's only so much that you can do with your child. You have to remember your job as a parent is to instill the wisdom, the knowledge, and the practical morals within them so that when they go out into the world and they experience the things that they experience and they meet the people that they meet, they have a foundation in which they can look to and say, okay, I know how to act in this situation. I know how to deal with this. But when you act like this with your daughter, you strip all of that away.
Absolutely.
And now what happens is, and once again, going back to we as a Haitian kids can relate to this, what happens is ultimately when she is inevitably exposed to sex, because she will eventually have sex, she's going to feel like she needs to overdo it and overcompensate for all the missed time she feels like she lost because you kept her away from it for so long. Now that she has a certain level of freedom to do it, she's going to be out here wilding. I've seen it happen several times. It happens every single time.
They will rebel.
And then secondly, once again, the lack of knowledge thereof that may or may not be there, you're going to put her in a situation where she's not going to know how to approach sex, how to properly protect and prepare herself to prevent STIs and STDs, to prevent unplanned pregnancies and things of that nature. So for T.I., I understand where he's coming from, right? You know that in his heart of hearts, he believes what he's doing is right. And I don't know T.I. I'm going to just assume the man is stubborn because the way I'm pretty sure he hears all the comments and sees everything going on and he's like, no, this is my daughter. I got to protect her. Y'all not telling me shit, whoop-de-whoop. We get that. Protect your daughter, love your daughter, all this stuff. But understand the fine line between, okay, I'm going to protect my daughter, but at the same time, I'm going to educate her, right? And going back to your point, you only make it even worse when you establish a household where you're putting your sons and your sons on a pedestal, and you're like, yo, y'all can keep fucking. You know what I'm saying? Y'all you can be out here slinging dick or whatever. Go get chasey shorts. But in that same house, you're looking at doors like, I don't even want you to know what a dick look like. You understand? It's irresponsible. It's immature. Once again, it speaks and breeds of insecurity, and quite frankly, it's absolutely disgusting.
And it makes me wonder, and you said that very well, and it makes me wonder what the deal is going to be moving forward regarding sex ed and what's going to happen. Because for one, how do you even have this sort of behavior where you're almost trying to prevent your child and putting a ceiling on when that happens? Because ultimately things happen when they happen.
Yeah.
The best thing that you can be is be supportive there for your child and more importantly, educate them.
Right.
So if you're just on some, yo, don't do it, 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 they're going to go and do it.
Right.
Because naturally as humans, we want what we can't have.
Right.
If I constantly tell you, yo, don't go over there and touch that tree. Yo, don't go over there. Soon enough, I'm going to wonder, why don't they want me to go touch the tree?
And
then you're going to mess around and fall 100% in. So T.I. is doing a disservice to his child. I understand, as you said, he's probably coming from a place of love, thinking that what he's doing is the right thing, but somebody need to sit this man down and tell him, first and foremost, why the hell would this even be put out publicly?
Right. Yeah, that's another thing.
Because they got no business even being put public.
Can you imagine the embarrassment, the secondhand embarrassment that her daughter's probably dealing with?
And her daughter's on social media with over 1 million followers.
Gosh,
so if you're sitting there with over 1 million, everybody in your comment section will be talking about this moving forward. Right. So you got to shut off your comments knowing that these messages are coming in the comment section. Then you're getting DMs about it. So there's people who's talking about, yo, I'm here to support you. But regardless of what their intention is, you're continually hearing about it.
Right.
And if you didn't have an opinion about it yourself, because if this has been happening for years upon years, right, you're under the impression, oh, this is just what parents do. Now you're finding out, wait a minute, maybe my dad is a little bit abnormal in how he's going about it. So now, since you're in an age in which you're malleable, you're going to sit here like, oh, wait a minute. Is he wrong? So now that's going to create even more problems in that household. T.I. should have never even put this publicly.
Ever.
And when he said it, he should have just kept it preferenced as a joke, because when he first brought it up, it seemed as if, it was all funny. Until they asked him, and then he doubled down.
He was like,
he should have never done that. This is something that should have been kept in private, and more importantly, now that it's public, he almost must address it, because he's somebody who always talks about social injustice and talks about social issues and trying to push the community forward. If that's what you want to do, there's no way you're going to have this exist and have this as a cloud, and you do not talk about it.
Listen, man.
He needs to first make sure that he educates his daughter at that, and then number two, if he don't, this can result in hoish behavior from his daughter and her
extreme hoish behavior.
Oh yeah, without
extreme
question.
Hoish behavior. It starts in the household, man. In fact, listen, I hope he writes his wrong, but ultimately, like I said, I don't know him personally, but I'm gonna assume he's just a hard-headed dude. So we'll see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, that concludes episode 15 of the Hold My Nuggets podcast. As always, we love and appreciate y'all for tuning in. I am your host with the most, Marv Glover, and across from me is
the diligent, vigilant, meticulous, sagacious, conscientious, analytical, methodical individual, the chiseled Adonis.
And as always, this is the Hold My Nuggets podcast, here where we talk 50% sports,
50% real shit, 100% of the time.
And as always, if you don't like that, you can hold my nuggets.
Suck my dick.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.